So it's one crisis after another here in these United States. We've got the border crisis. You had this left-wing group try to create a crisis and manufacture a crisis, which they did a good job of because they got the attention of the President of the United States by having a caravan of wannabe illegal aliens travel through Mexico from Central America, and they were going to hit the border. Now, I don't know if they've been delayed or waylaid or the Mexicans intervened to stop them from happening. The media is providing mixed reporting on that. But it's a good indication of the crisis we face on the border. Discussions of amnesty have encouraged increased immigration, illegal immigration. We still don't have the border secure. We have all these sanctuary policies in cities and states that are encouraging more illegal immigration, because what happens is, if you're an illegal immigrant, you think, well, all I need to do is get across the border, and then I'm free and clear, because places like San Francisco, Chicago, Washington, D.C., New York, Atlanta, you name it, they'll provide me sanctuary and help me escape the rule of law from federal immigration authorities. And of course, you've had the abuses of power under the Obama administration that has encouraged illegal immigration with this dreamer amnesty, with this providing bus tickets to anyone who got to the border as opposed to turning them back. They bring them into the interior by allowing abuses of the asylum process. You know, Judicial Watch, if you follow Judicial Watch over the years, you know that Judicial Watch has been instrumental in educating the American people and Washington, D.C. about the truth on the border. We've got the human trafficking crisis, we've got the drug crisis, and we have a national security crisis. And our reporting has repeatedly affirmed that we face a significant terrorist threat as a result of an unsecure border. I have a fun fact for you. General Kelly, the President Trump's chief of staff, I think he's a 4-star Marine general. And he used to run the Southern Command, which is basically the homeland command for our military. And I'm paraphrasing him, but he said, essentially, an unsecure border is an existential threat to the United States. So in my view, a wall may be necessary, but it isn't sufficient, and we can't wait for a wall. And I would deploy the military to the border to secure the border. And don't you believe all this, you know, all of this concern about the Posse Comitatus Act? This has nothing to do with civil law enforcement. Posse Comitatus prevents the military, more or less, except in, you know, with exceptions, from participating in civilian law enforcement. Well, we're asking them to secure the border. And sure enough, President Trump authorized just this week the National Guard to go down and help secure the border. You know, this caravan was like waving a red flag in front of Trump. And he responded with a rule of law approach, which is good. And just as I'm coming on today, I see General Sessions announced that the Justice Department will take a zero-tolerance approach to those who try to cross the border illegally in the southern part of the United States, the southern border, which is another fantastic development. Look, I criticize Jeff Sessions when he does the wrong thing, but when he does the right thing, he deserves praise here. And he's very good on these border security issues. There's more to be done, though. So I talked about the asylum seekers. And what happens is here, once you get to the border, at least under the Obama administration, they let you in no matter what. And all you needed to say was, I'm seeking asylum. And they'd say, all right, well, fill out this form. We'll set a hearing date, show up, and we'll adjudicate it. Well, guess what? No one really shows up for those asylum hearings. So essentially, it's a get into the United States free card. Now, my understanding of the law, now I'm not a lawyer, but I have a reasonably good understanding of immigration policies and procedures, is that if you come with a minor, or you are an unaccompanied minor, and you're not from Mexico, they kind of have to let you in and get the process going. But if you're from Mexico, you can be turned away. And if you're not from Mexico, if they had the resources at the border, they could almost immediately adjudicate your claim of asylum and then turn you away. Frankly, I believe pretty much everyone can be turned away, but I'm just presuming some have to get through. The best policy would be at the border. You want to come in and you claim asylum? Our consulate is down the road in Mexico. You can seek asylum there, and you can wait out the process in Mexico, if Mexico will let you. These asylum claims have doubled under the Obama administration, and it wasn't because there were more people who needed asylum. It's because Obama changed the rules in a way to encourage more abuses of the asylum process. So President Trump should understand he doesn't need to change the laws. He needs to enforce the ones that are in place, and he needs to let his agencies know he knows what's going on, and he expects them to provide a surge of law enforcement to the border, both from DHS, DOJ, as Sessions has kind of highlighted. He's directed his U.S. attorneys to prosecute more. So it's a crisis at the border. And just because the media doesn't want to report on it, it's still happening. Tens of thousands of people cross the border illegally, hundreds of thousands maybe every year, and that's necessarily a crisis. And it's a dire threat to our system of government and our safety. And it's about time people here in Washington, D.C. start protecting this country. And I'm glad to see the Trump administration at least taking steps in that regard. And given the way prior administrations, both Republican and Democrat, have behaved, they're dramatic steps and almost revolutionary. But they're modest nevertheless. But anything is better than nothing. And so Judicial Watch will continue to, again, tell you what's going on the border. We have our investigative staff, we have our Freedom of Information Act requests, and of course we're challenging these sanctuary cities which are so dangerous, deadly, and illegal. We have a lawsuit against San Francisco's sanctuary policy, which is now proceeding. And that would end the policy if we won that lawsuit. We wouldn't just cut off funding for San Francisco, we'd stop the policy. That's why the lawsuit's important. So we're in the middle of it, and we consider this to be a big issue. We were fighting it before Trump became president. We fought during the Obama administration. We even fought through the George W. Bush administration, because they were disastrous on immigration policy, more than less.